So I, 27F, have been working for this mid-sized tech company for the last 4 years. My job is in the marketing department, and I've always been super dedicated. I work late, take on extra projects, and am always there when the team needs me. I've been hoping for a promotion for about a year now, and I finally got it, or at least, I thought I did. Here's where things start to get weird. My boss, let's call him Mark, 42M, had always been supportive of me, or so I thought. He's the head of our department and had been hinting that I was in line for the promotion to a senior position for months. I was beyond excited and thought it was because of my hard work. Last Friday, he called me into his office to tell me the good news. He said I'd officially been promoted and that I'd be getting a nice raise. I was ecstatic. He also mentioned we should celebrate over drinks after work. I didn't think much of it since our team has done that before, so I said, sure. That night, we went to a bar near the office. At first, everything seemed normal. We talked about the projects I'd be handling and what the promotion would mean in terms of responsibilities. But then, the conversation shifted. Mark started talking about how much he's noticed me over the years. Not just my work, but me personally. He complimented how I dressed, how I carried myself, and made a few comments about my smile. It started feeling really off, but I just kept it professional and tried to steer the conversation back to work. Then he said it. He leaned in and said, "You know, I made sure you got this promotion, but I'd like something in return. How about a romantic night with me?" I froze. I didn't know what to say. My heart started racing, and my stomach dropped. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I tried to laugh it off like it was a joke, but he was dead serious. He even put his hand on mine and said, "It could be our little secret. No one has to know." I excused myself to go to the bathroom and just stayed in there for like 15 minutes, trying to calm down. When I came back, I told him I wasn't feeling well and needed to go home. He seemed disappointed but didn't push it further. I left feeling completely shattered. I haven't been able to sleep since. Every time I think about it, I get this sick feeling in my stomach. I worked so hard for this promotion, and now it feels tainted, like it wasn't really based on my work, but on his twisted expectations. I don't know what to do. If I report this to HR, will they even believe me? What if they take his side? He's pretty well liked in the company, and I'm terrified of being blacklisted or losing my job. Has anyone been through something like this? What should I do? Part 2. Update. First off, thank you all so much for your advice and support. I didn't expect the post to get this much attention, but it really helped me feel less alone in this. After reading through the comments and DMs, I decided to take a few steps. The day after the incident, I called in sick because I just couldn't face going into the office. I needed time to process everything. During that time, I did some research on workplace harassment and what my rights are. I also talked to a few trusted friends about the situation, and one of them put me in touch with an employment lawyer. She gave me some really solid advice. Here's what she told me. First, I needed to document everything, every conversation, every comment, and every interaction that made me feel uncomfortable. I had already saved the text messages from Mark asking me to meet him for drinks, and I also took notes on everything that happened that night. My lawyer told me to hold on to that and keep a detailed record of any further interactions. She also suggested that I talk to HR but do so carefully, since I didn't know if they'd be on my side or not. She said it would be wise to frame the conversation around asking for advice on handling the situation, rather than making a formal complaint right away. That way, if they brushed it off or didn't take me seriously, I'd have a better sense of whether I could trust them to handle it properly. After a lot of thinking, I decided to follow her advice. When I went back to work, I asked for a meeting with someone from HR. Let's call her Susan. Susan seemed really nice at first, and I told her that I had some concerns about a situation with my boss and wasn't sure how to handle it. I didn't give all the details but told her that something inappropriate had happened, and I wasn't sure if I should report it or if there was another way to deal with it. Susan looked sympathetic and told me that they take these kinds of concerns seriously, but I couldn't shake the feeling that she was being a bit too cautious. She asked if I wanted to make an official complaint, but I told her I wasn't ready yet. After the meeting, I didn't hear anything for a few days. Mark was acting like nothing had happened, but I could feel him watching me during meetings and when I walked by his office. It made my skin crawl. Then, something unexpected happened. One of my colleagues, a woman in a different department, asked me if I wanted to grab lunch. During lunch, she confided in me that she had heard rumors about Mark's behavior toward other women in the company. Apparently, I wasn't the first person he made uncomfortable. She didn't know specifics but said that a few other women had left the company suddenly after having issues with Mark. That was a huge red flag for me. Part 3. I decided that I couldn't stay silent any longer. I went back to Susan and told her that I wanted to file a formal complaint against Mark. I gave her all the details about what had happened, including the comments he made and how he tried to proposition me. I also told her what my colleague had said about other women leaving because of him. HR launched an investigation, and things got tense at work. Mark found out that I had made a complaint, and suddenly, he was acting completely different. He started avoiding me and barely spoke to me at all, which was a relief in some ways, but also nerve-wracking because I didn't know what he was planning. A few weeks later, HR called me in for a meeting to let me know the results of the investigation. They told me that they had found evidence that supported my claims and that Mark had been put on leave while they figured out next steps. It wasn't the immediate win I had hoped for, but it felt like a step in the right direction. Then, I got an email from the CEO. He wanted to meet with me personally to discuss the situation. I was so nervous, but when I met with him, he was incredibly supportive. He told me that they had decided to let Mark go and that they were implementing new policies to prevent this kind of behavior in the future. He also assured me that my promotion was secure and that I had earned it based on my work, not because of anything else. I can't even describe the relief I felt after that meeting. It's been a long and stressful journey, but I finally feel like things are getting back on track.